Hello, my lovely gays, and welcome to another video by the Video Game Homies. But it's just one homie right now. So I just want to do this comparison between the PS4, fucking PS4, and the PS5. So I know it's pretty subtle, right? You don't know which one I like better yet, but that's why you're gonna stay through the video. Anyways. Let's start by the PS4, huh? So we got this controller, right? It's a controller. It has sticks, it has dicks, it has buttons. So, square, X, triangle, circle, R, R1, I mean, L1, R2, L2, D-pad, touchpad, options and share button, right? And home button, obviously. The PS5 pretty much has the same shit, really. Like, look, buttons, analog sticks, D-pad. That I guess that's the share button. I don't really share much, so sorry. Options, but it looks nicer. Touchpad, but it looks nicer. R1, L1, R2, L2. You know, triggers, shoulders, same shit. And the home button is better too. Now, let's make that little comparison. See, the home button here is actually the logo itself. It's not a circle or anything. This one is just a button with the logo on it. Pretty clever, huh? No, but I like this one better actually because it feels a little bit more natural and it's actually closer to the sticks. So it's actually it's actually better in a way. It's weird. So yeah. Pretty cool, bruh. Pretty cool, bruh. Okay, now I do want to say that this is something I don't like about the PS5 controller, right? So we got these buttons right here. They look pretty good. They feel pretty snazzy, honestly. I like how you press them and it actually has some sort of weight, you know, like, all right. You press them, it has some sort of sound, weight, and it just feels satisfying. A little bit more satisfying pressing them. Now you get to the PS5, see, not as much of a sound there, right? I don't know if you guys could hear it. Now, it's not bad, though. It doesn't feel cheap or anything. I'm just saying I kind of miss this, you know? Another thing, while we're on the topic of buttons, another thing I miss is the colored buttons thing. I don't know why they had the need to take that out, you know? But I always loved these. I always loved the colored buttons. That's what I didn't like about Nintendo controllers for a while, is that they got rid of their colored buttons for some reason. But yeah, no, Sony and Microsoft for the longest time kept it alive until Sony with the PS5. They just killed it. And the annoying thing about that, right, is that like some PS4 to PS5, right, like some games like that, they still do not like have. They didn't get the memo, right? Like there's some PS4 to PS5 games that don't have the colored buttons, right? So like I have God of War Ragnarok, right? Like that doesn't have the PS5 buttons, even though I have the PS5 version, right? So it still has the PS4 buttons, the colored PS4. So why didn't you just keep the colored buttons? I don't get that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tiny little critique. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to fuck with y'all. But anyways, so D-pad, let's just move on to the D-pad, I guess. So the D-pad here is pretty standard, honestly. It's a pretty standard D-pad. It's pretty good for 2D games, you know, for movement, but it's also pretty good for 3D games with weapons and in the inventory and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not bad. It's better than the Xbox D-pads, that's for sure. Way better. And the D-pad on the PS5 is no exception. In fact, it's pretty good, honestly. Although I feel like it's gonna degrade over time. Meanwhile, the PS4 version I feel is a lot more sturdy. You know, like I feel like this is gonna last me a while. This, on the other hand, I feel like it's gonna get loose. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they made it with cheaper material, but overall the same. But yeah, but it has the nice little, see-through nature of it with the, oh my god, directional arrows. So thank God now I will know that this is up and this is down, this is left and this is right. Thank you, Sony. Thank you. With this I got confused, No, I'm kidding. Anyways, sarcasm aside, I still think that the D-pad is still better than the Xbox, so it wins. No, I'm kidding. The PS4 won this round with the D-pad and the buttons. So let's move on to the analog sticks. Now this is where I don't think I need to say, but the PS5 kind of wins. I'm not gonna lie. Look at the height of them. It is perfect, and look at the texture on them as well. Fucking sexy. They're textured and they're nice and it's sexy. Hold on a minute. Yeah, you see that texture? Pretty cool. Now, we move on to the PS4 ones. They're okay, they're kind of as long, but they're more separated, which feels awkward. A little bit more awkward for shorter analogs, So, and also the PS4 analogs, they actually degrade over time, like the texture of them at least, and they both get real stick drifts, so that's no exception to any of them. But the PS4 version or the PS4 analogs don't really have any any texture to them, and they're just more bland, and thus they're kind of less satisfying to move around and stuff. So that's another thing that's a thing that the PS5 actually wins, is the analogs. Now let's see the touchpad. Let's start with the PS4s. The PS4 touchpad is it's a touchpad, right? You press on it and it's more or less the start, right? And some games utilize the touchpad, but not much, especially past launch. So whatever. What are you gonna do? The PS4's touchpad is a little too short, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, you see that? Like, it's just a rectangle. It's kind of awkward, right? But obviously that's the first time they did it, so I'm not gonna say like, oh gosh darn, Sony, you should get kicked in the shin, be called a ripoff artist. Nah. It's okay, like it obviously does its job, but then you look at the PS5 one, and oh my, what's this? It's a lot more clear, It doesn't have awkward shape. Look at that. You're definitely able to like drag your finger across it and it won't be awkward, because it has sort of an edge to it as well. Meanwhile, the PS4 one, it does, but it's kind of the same edge as like this, it doesn't have a gap or something like this does. You see that? See that? That's where that this touchpad cuts off. This just kind of blends it with the controller, So that's what I don't like. But obviously they're both still kind of good. Like I can't even talk too much shit. I can't even be silly or anything because it's pretty basic. So then we got the option. Oh yeah, so PS5 wins this round. Hee hee. So now we got the options and the share button on both of them. So I think, in my opinion, the PS5 already wins. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna try to make a 5-minute reason why. But basically, the PS4 one kind of seems like it's more of a prototype, right, of them doing that. Which technically it is. The PS4 controller is the first time that they ever did this. So, in a way, it is. So, share and options, it just kind of looks bland, just kind of like two capsules right here with words on them. When this has symbols. Ooh. And the capsules are more on the side, like they're slanted a little bit. So that gives them a little bit more style, son. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So the PS5 also wins this round. And let's see now. Let's see what we got. Shoulders and triggers. Ooh, yes. Yeah, shoulder and triggers. All right. So this is actually something that I can't really decide on, oddly enough. So they're actually both pretty satisfying to press, but the triggers, like they don't feel the same or anything. The shoulder buttons on the PS5 are slightly worse than the PS4's, but What wins in the PS5 category are the triggers. Now, I'm not going to say it's because, oh, the adaptive trigger or whatever. I honestly don't care about the adaptive triggers at all. In fact, sometimes they actually make the game a little bit harder to play. Sorry, but not sorry. But yeah, so it's honestly kind of tied because the shoulder buttons are better on the PS4 in my opinion, because this clearly gets stuck. Like, it will not last you, you know? I don't know why they did it like that. Stupid. But the triggers, on the other hand, you know, the triggers, on the other hand, right? They're kind of awkward on the PS4. Like, they feel like they don't want to be here, and they're just like doing their 9 to 5. They're like, oh god, it's this asshole playing Call of Duty again. All right, let's just get it over with. These are just triggers, just for the sake of being called triggers. And to be fair, these are better than the PS3's triggers. So, so the PS4 is the first time they kind of did more triggers like these, like actual triggers. Meanwhile, the PS5 actually has really good triggers. Like, since it has adaptive triggers, I imagine you could also, make that an argument. But to me, just because of how smooth it is. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, goddamn. Sorry, I have one hand to work with here, people. See? Very smooth and wide enough for my fat ass fingers, so it works. It just works. So they're tied. They're tied in that category. Now, the overall presentation, right? I think it's pretty much tied, right? The buttons, PS4 wins. Let's just do an overview. The buttons, PS4. Sorry, hold on. Okay. So the buttons, PS4. The analogs, PS5. The home button, PS5. The D-pad, PS4. Let's see. The touchpad, PS5. Start and options, PS5. So that's 4 already. And for the shoulder and triggers, they're tied. So actually, the PS5 is winning. So let's just say the overall structure, right? Like which one feels better in the hand, right? So after playing the PS5, I'm sorry, for a while, and I've been playing the PS4 for years now, I will have to say, drum roll please, whatever the hell kind of drum roll that is. The PS5 wins. I have to say, they nailed it with the presentation here. Okay. No, but really though, the PS5 wins. Why? Because they listened to the people complaining about the PS4 controller, and even the PS3 controller, right? So the PS4 controller, especially after playing with the PS5 controller for a while, the PS4 controller actually feels very small, a little bit awkward, right? Like, it just feels like this is a prototype, like I said, of a controller instead of an actual controller. The PS5 even looks more complete, right? But it also feels more complete. Like, god damn. This is his bigger, beefier cousin that just, like, I'm sorry, man, he gets all the bitches. What can you say? You know? So yeah, anyways, I'm sorry, PS4, you did great. I love you, but you're just too small. So I'm gonna have to go with the PS5.